Gosh, I sure am inconsistent on how I judge episodes with bad continuity, aren't I? Made in Manhattan made a half-assed callback to Rarity Takes Manhattan and I hated it. Philly Vanilli did a half-assed callback to Bridal Gossip and I loved it. Make New Friends But Keep Discord had inconsistent continuity that erased 2 bad episodes from the canon and I still hated it. Brotherhoof Social has inconsistent continuity that conflicts with another bad episode and I loved it. So I made a rule for myself. When it comes to MLP, if it's a good episode despite the continuity errors, I just ignore them. And if it's bad despite the continuity errors, fuck it, pile on, nobody cares anyway, right? I was about to say something along the lines of, it makes a lot of sense that Apple Bloom is getting really into the Sisterhood Social this time around because she missed it last year because of Sweetie Belle. Even though in reality it was more like 4 years ago because of 100 moons passed in between the pilot and Apple Family reunion. But then you end up with like the last episode where it seemed a lot like Rarity was the one who reminded Applejack that the Sisterhood Social was a thing.
I just remembered something. The Sisterhood Social!
Even though she got called away in the middle of preparing for it.
You're being summoned, Applejack! This is so cool!
You know for damn sure that Apple Bloom is gonna be upset you that must be the same memory loss that made you forget how easily you traversed Manhattan the last time you were there. Continuity! This episode made me feel feels. Which is odd, because nothing that happened in it relates to my life situation at all.
You are the most awesome sister ever!
Well, I think it's sweet that you hold that opinion, but...
You know, I'm actually curious as to what Applejack was about to say right there. Well, you know, there are better sisters out there. Pinkie Pie is pretty good at stuff. Maybe you should compare us a little more analytically before you jump to conclusions like that. If your sister Totsu is the best sister ever, you don't say something like, statistically, that's improbable, even if you're the element of honesty. Apple Bloom's retort is also a little sketchy.
You've saved Equestria like a gazillion times. You're smart, funny, strong.
She listed saving Equestria as one of her reasons why you're the best sister ever, but other ponies who happen to be sisters also saved Equestria, but no other apples ever saved Equestria. Wouldn't that make you automatically the best apple and probably the best sister? Okay, changing the subject, we're sort of slipping back into Season 1 bullshit. In Season 1, the CMC were basically...
Apple Bloom and her 2 friends?
Cutie mark. Acquisition program.
Whereas in Season 4 is more like, Apple who? Nah, it's all about Sweetie Belle this time. Season 5 has 2 Apple Bloom episodes and 1 CMC episode where it's like, yeah, I know they're both there, but come on, this is actually an Apple Bloom episode. But Dave Polsky never disappoints, unless you count the abundance of instances where he does indeed disappoint very much, but Sweetie Belle is still the best. I love how she catches Big Mac red-handed and just, like, takes the compliment in stride.
That's awful nice of you to say, Cousin Orchard Blossom. I've been told before I'm pretty observant.
Like, oh, that's sweet. He knows his place. She really understands how to manipulate ponies, which is one of the things that made Appaloosa's Most Wanted more disappointing than it really should have been. Anyway, moving on again with another shitty segue. My favorite part of this episode is when Apple Bloom says Orchard Blossom.
My long-lost cousin Orchard Blossom was able to make it last minute.
And the immediate reaction is, that sounds made up. Given the Apple family's propensity for similar-sounding Apple-related names and the huge size of their family, it's just funny to me how their friends are immediately like,
Your cousin who what now?
Shitty segue number 3, there's this drama about whether or not they'll be allowed to enter, seeing as how Big Mac's lady persona isn't Apple Bloom's sister, but they let Applejack and Sweetie Belle compete last time around. But that's continuity, so fuck it. I do like how these 2 ponies that won last time are sort of taken out of the competition pretty elegantly, but that's another continuity issue, so I don't even know who I am anymore. So why can't Big Mac jump? Oh, whatever. Let's just get down to the point of this episode, and that's Big Mac in drag. Now, Big Mac has always had a feminine side to him, like playing with dolls, but this is a franchise that would benefit greatly from boys wanting to play with dolls, so you can chalk that one up to marketing. And Big Mac's internal persona being a princess. But that's also nothing to read too much into if you really think about it. The entire power structure of Equestria is entirely feminine. So thinking of yourself as an alicorn princess is a power fantasy equivalent to Spike, who is a dragon, and I suppose is inherently more masculine thinking about himself as one of these. And I also don't think it was about him wearing a dress, because he was trying to sneak into the competition, even though they would have let him compete with Apple Bloom, even if he hadn't tucked it. But shouldn't he know the rules? Doesn't his family run this? Yeah, continuity, whatever. I think the thing to notice here is how he expresses himself as a woman.
Oh my, that certainly didn't go as I had planned.
He's a lot more talkative and cheerful, as opposed to his regular Big Mac voice where he spoke very succinctly and mostly only to his family. As Orchard Blossom, he speaks in long, flowery sentences, and he continues to keep up this act even when he's at no risk of getting caught, and even after there's no reason to.
Why, dear, I do declare this is the most beautiful sunset.
So does this mean he's a transvestite? Or a transgender? Probably not. Remember, we're talking about a kids show where characters say
Best friend.
as if to mean, are you satisfied, S&P? We didn't endorse our heathenist lifestyles on your precious children's programming. So maybe this is as close as they could get in their attempt to introduce a transgender character. Or maybe Polsky is just a Class A troll, and the real explanation for Big Mac's feminine side is...